Good morning. It is Friday, February the 25th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. We start this morning with a look at what is happening with water supply across a number of parishes which have been affected over the last 3 days. The Barbados Water Authority continues to experience those low water levels reported at several of its facilities in St. Michael. However, the situation is expected to be rectified within the next 24 hours. That news has been coming from the Barbados Water Authority's top brass following a board meeting yesterday, using that time to target the issue. Giving us an update on the situation is the Director of Engineering, Charles Leslie.
Authority continues to experience low reservoir levels at 3 facilities. Some work was done at the source that supplies those reservoirs up to late last night. The crews were out doing the work. As a result of the low reservoir levels, customers in the St. James, St. Michael, and the St. Thomas areas will still experience low water levels and outages. And the system will continue to experience those problems until the supply to those reservoirs is restored and the levels improve. The Barbados Water Authority, again, is indicating that the tankers are going to be out in full force, servicing those affected districts once the problem persists. The authority again apologizes for the inconvenience that these disruptions may have caused to any of our customers, and we will continue to provide you updates of the situation as information becomes available. Thank you.
And some of those communities which would have experienced low pressure or outages over the last 3 days would have been those in St. Michael, like Cave Hill, Lodge Hill, St. Stephen's Hill as well, King Garden, Jackson Terrace, Meadowvale Heights, Warrens, and Warrens Park South. Over in St. James, you have Cave Hill, Crescent, Durance Village, Halls Village, Oxnards, Haynesville, Husbands as well, Husbands Gardens, Husbands Heights, just those Husbands districts, Hoyts Village, Sunset Ridge, and surrounding districts. Also in St. Thomas as well, Redmond Village, Melrose, Arthur Seat, Bagatelle Gardens, Bagatelle Park, Arch Hall, and surrounding areas. As the Director of Engineering explained, those tankers will be out in full force servicing those affected communities. We'll continue to update you right here on in our subsequent newscasts. We'll take a break here and come back with a look at those COVID-19 updates. Leading our COVID-19 updates, we hear that only 50% of eligible school children are fully vaccinated. And with the return to the classroom from this week, there are more calls for students to get the jab. We hear more from Crystal Hoyt.
As school children across the island return to the classroom this week, co-coordinator of the National Vaccination Program, Dr. Elizabeth Ferdinand, has once again reiterated the need for eligible children to receive the COVID-19 vaccine.
With the increase now everybody going into school, mixing, teachers, staff, and the pupils, there is a need for them to be vaccinated. Our figures so far show that of course we're talking about children between the ages of 12 and 18, we see that 55.19% are partially vaccinated. That means they've had one dose. And those who are fully vaccinated with two doses is about 49.9%. So roughly half have had their full vaccination.
Dr. Ferdinand says discussions with the Ministry of Education are scheduled.
I'm looking at the possibility of actually going into some of the schools, and I'll be having dialogue with the Ministry of Education shortly with that in mind. And I'm hoping that will bring some more students to the forefront and be able to vaccinate them.
Though the COVID-19 vaccine is not mandated, she notes it is nothing new for vaccines to be in schools.
The children have to be vaccinated to attend school, even from the nursery. So, and nurses go into the nurseries, they go into schools to check on the children's vaccination status. So it is nothing new for us to say children need to be vaccinated to go into school. They're young children, they're all congregating together, they're playing. It's only natural that any infection will spread rapidly.
She adds that Barbados has an adequate supply of Pfizer vaccines on island. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Let's look at the local COVID-19 numbers now. 192 people, 82 males and 110 females, tested positive for COVID-19 on February 23rd. They were among the 1,259 people whose tests were processed by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. Of the positive cases, 31 were young people under the age of 18. There were 97 people in isolation facilities and 2,323 in home isolation. Meanwhile, a 92-year-old fully vaccinated woman died from the viral illness. As at February 23rd, the number of deaths from COVID-19 stood at 312. Under the National Vaccination Program, the total number of people with at least one dose of a vaccine is 159,958. The total number of people who are fully vaccinated stands at 149,167. Relaxed COVID-19 measures take effect in Jamaica today. The revised measures announced by the Prime Minister Andrew Holness include changes for the nightly curfew hours. The new measures are effective for a 3-week period ending March 17th.
The curfew hours will change from 11 p.m. nightly to midnight until 5 a.m. the following morning until 5 a.m. on March 18th, 2022. 2, the current maximum of 20 persons allowed to physically attend funerals and burials will be increased to 100. This number includes mourners, clergy, and any other support personnel. As a reminder, burials are permitted only between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Mondays to Friday. 3, the maximum number of persons for events hosted by public sector entities will be increased from 50 to 100. As a reminder, a maximum of 100 persons may be physically present at weddings and annual general meetings of companies.
The Pan American Health Organization continues to work with Haiti to ramp up its COVID-19 vaccinations in that CARICOM state. Director Dr. Carissa Etienne says that country has been receiving several vaccine doses in this regard.
Haiti received several shipments of vaccine doses in the past months, one large shipment from the United States of America. Most recently, 151,000 doses of Moderna were received last week, and COVAX is working with the Ministry of Health to ensure a steady supply of the Pfizer vaccine. As part of this national plan, the revised national plan for the deployment of vaccines, we are supporting the government strategy to increase the number of vaccination sites and the mobile vaccination units throughout the country's 10 departments. And this is made possible thanks to important investments in national cold chain operations.
Meanwhile, over in Guyana, as COVID-19 restrictions are lifted there, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, says Guyanese are no longer facing the challenges of anxiety and depression.
Now that this society is more open up, I don't think people are so confined, and some of the challenges and anxieties that people might have had in the early part of the pandemic, that has eased somewhat.
Let's go over to Pearson now. I've got to thank him for holding down the fort for the week. And it's time for him to tell us how he will be taking you into the weekend on the Friday edition of Mornin Barbados. Pearson?
Good morning, Shane. Good morning, everyone. At 6:30 when you join me, we will be talking about Clean Up Barbados. The dry season is almost upon us, but we need volunteers. Volunteers to assist as we make a massive effort towards ridding our gullies and our drains of garbage, or beaches as well. So we'll hear more about how you can volunteer. How can we improve the quality of life for people with disabilities? Well, there's a sports academy for that. And we'll share with you the information about that and how you can register your loved one to benefit from what's offered there. And Beauty for Ashes, Pain for Purpose. Oh, this is a massive book written by a young woman who has found her way. And so she wants to share the beauty from the ashes as you may have experienced it through the pages of her book. So we'll share that and a whole lot more when you join me at 6:30. Back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. Right here in the Morning Report, the spotlight is on Ukraine up next as we give you some local, regional, and international perspective and reaction right here coming up in a few moments. Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley has joined with leaders in the region and around the world in expressing grave concern about the actions of Russia in its ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Or Ryan Broom has that story.
In a statement, Prime Minister Motley said the government of Barbados recalls the position of CARICOM of February 14th, in which CARICOM reaffirmed its commitment to respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, non-interference in the internal affairs of another state, the prohibition on the threat or use of force, and peaceful resolution of disputes. Ms. Motley says this position is in keeping with the principled stance that Barbados steadfastly maintains in its international engagement, including most recently with respect to the situation in our regional neighbor, Venezuela. Prime Minister Motley also says the Barbados government is gravely concerned by the actions taken by the authorities of the Russian Federation. She adds that the actions of the Federation are a violation of the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine and of the rule of non-interference in the internal affairs of another state. The Prime Minister says the government of Barbados therefore calls on the Russian Federation to immediately cease its hostilities and respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. And Ms. Motley says the government of Barbados firmly believes that a peaceful, negotiated, diplomatic approach which results in the restoration of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity is the only approach consistent with the values of the United Nations and with international law. Well, meanwhile, CARICOM has also issued a statement on the situation, saying it strongly condemns the military attacks and invasion by the Russian Federation. The regional body has also called for the immediate and complete withdrawal of the military presence and for a halt to any further action. Ryan Broom, CBC News.
Meanwhile, the Pro-Vice Chancellor for the Board of Undergraduate Studies at the UWI Cave Hill campus, Professor Justin Robinson, believes the economic fallout from Russia's invasion of Ukraine may be far greater than just an impact on energy prices if it continues. Speaking during an interview with CBC News, he said the isolation of the world's 11 largest economies will have implications for countries like Barbados and other small island economies.
I think the immediate implications, higher inflation, lower growth, and some disruption to financial markets as these sanctions against Russia take place. And I think one of the longer term fallout is going to be a restructuring potentially of global supply chains. The pandemic has already brought that into focus, where a lot of global supply was centered in Asia around China. Now we have this disruption in Europe. We probably could see a real disruption and a reconfiguration of global supply chains and the impact that may have on the cost of access to goods around the world that we've become accustomed to over the last 20 years could change.
Professor Robinson says despite the major challenges that can result, there are some things that countries like Barbados and others in the region can do to mitigate those challenges despite their small size.
These events are beyond our control, but a government and our policymakers must always have a can-do mentality. That what policies can we undertake to mitigate the impact, whether it's tax policy, subsidies here and there. And I don't think you can simply lay down and die because you are a sovereign country if something negative is impacting on your economy. There's still a responsibility on the policymakers to do what they can to mitigate. You can't stop it, but certainly you do want to look into your toolkit to see what can be done in terms of mitigation.
And more reaction this morning to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The U.S. President Joe Biden has announced new sanctions against Russia, vowing to impose a severe cost on the country for its invasion of Ukraine. European countries also began imposing sanctions on Russia over the invasion, which started yesterday.
As missiles fell on Ukrainian cities, so international condemnation rained down on Vladimir Putin and the Russian attack.
Early this morning, Russian troops invaded Ukraine, a free and sovereign country. And once again, in the center of Europe, innocent women, men and children are dying of fear for their lives. We condemn this barbaric attack.
From national capitals, leader after leader promised a coordinated and unprecedented sanctions response aimed at President Putin, the Russian elite, and the sources and havens of Russian wealth, hoping against hope that they will make a difference.
We will limit Russia's ability to do business in dollars, euros, pounds, and yen to be part of the global economy. We'll limit their ability to do that. We're going to stunt the ability to finance and grow the Russian military. We're going to impose and we're going to impair their ability to compete in high-tech 21st century economy.
We're taking new powers to target Russian finance.
Earlier, the British Prime Minister also announced a salvo of sanctions, banning Russian companies from its markets and Russia's national airline from British airports. The measures include asset freezes against major Russian state banks and individuals and a halt on high-tech exports. Those responsible for propping up Putin, he said, will have nowhere to hide.
This includes all the major manufacturers that support Putin's war machine.
Describing the Russian president in an address to the nation as a dictator.
For all his bombs and tanks and missiles, I don't believe that the Russian dictator will ever subdue the national feeling of the Ukrainians and their passionate belief that their country should be free.
World leaders have, however, fallen short of banning Russia from the SWIFT international payment system through which Moscow receives foreign currency. Some European countries fear billions of dollars of Russian debt won't be repaid to European creditors if Moscow's forced out of the scheme. Ukraine's urged Western leaders to reconsider. And while determined efforts continue by a number of countries to supply Ukraine with lethal and defensive weapons, no one's offering to stand shoulder to shoulder with Kiev and fight.
We have made it clear that we don't have any plans and intention of deploying NATO troops to Ukraine. What we have made clear is that we have already increased and we are increasing the presence of NATO troops in the eastern part of the alliance on NATO territory.
That will not be a factor in Putin's plans for now, and neighbouring countries have other problems to consider. The Polish government says 9 reception points will be opened along Ukraine's border to receive an expected wave of refugees. A country that in recent months has used force to repel refugees from the Middle East must now brace for Ukrainians fleeing war in their thousands.
Such a sad situation there in Ukraine. We are praying for our brothers and sisters there. Let's look at some sporting news now. With much focus on the England side that is missing 8 of the players who featured in their dismal 2022 Ashes tour to Australia being sidelined, the England skipper Joe Root says winning the upcoming tour here in the Caribbean is very important for his team. Well, the West Indies test team to face England has been selected as well, and with this always comes great discussion. Our Anne-Marie Burt takes a look at those who made the cut and some who did not.
A first-time caller for Anderson Phillip, John Campbell finding his way back into the side, and the noted omission of Roston Chase, Rakeem Cornwall, Shea Hope, Jeremy Solazano and Joe Mawarrican are the main highlights of the selected team to face England. It's a team chosen on current performance, and so Phillips' maiden test call-up is justified. He impressed in the first 2 rounds of the regional 4-day championship. 12 wickets at an average of 14.25 per wicket, with best figures of 5 for 82. Why would he not be given a shoe-in? However, with a solid bowling unit with the likes of Kemar Roach, Alzari Joseph and Jayden Seals, making the final 11 might not come at first toss. Not forgetting that Jason Holder and Kyle Mears factor in with the all-round experience and could also contribute with the ball. First, Sammy Pamal is in the bowling unit as well. His choice over that of Rakeem Cornwall has been a talking point. Again, selectors weighing all considerations looked at his performance in Sri Lanka on the last tour, getting 5 wickets in a test match. They thought they'd give him another chance, and I absolutely agree. Am I sold on the decision of John Campbell over Jeremy Solazano? I'm not quite sure. Campbell has no doubt started the domestic season guns blazing, 213 runs at an average of 53.25, including 127 against the Barbados Pride. But it's a consistency I fear. In my toss-up as to if this was a good choice, I asked the view of commentator Pedro Agar.
That's an interesting one. First, I gotta say that there was a lot of conversation about opening partners. Nobody mentioned Jermaine Blackwell, who's the air partner last opener we had. But Jeremy Salazar will have to find himself a little bit unlucky, to go on the tour, be struck, feel not shot, like didn't have an opportunity to bat, and then to be replaced. But having said that, I think he's had a couple of opportunities, and John Campbell, these players apparently showing they're picking foreign players. Salazar, though, shouldn't be too disheartened because there's a President's Cup game coming up, which he will have an opportunity against the same England to prove his worth.
Looking at the rest of the batting unit, with Roston Chase and Shea Hope both losing their places after disappointing returns with the bat in recent series, Shamar Brooks, whose last Test appearance came in New Zealand in December 2020, has also been recalled as an option in the middle order. Skipper Craig Brathwaite's double century in his last domestic game is some signal of his peaking form. Let's hope he leads from the front, with his starring cast of Jermaine Blackwood and Kuma Bonner and Kyle Mears needed to step up to the task. Mears, like Jason Holder, can offer some help with the ball if called upon, so the all-rounders are rooted. Although I do have some disappointment that fast bowling all-rounder Raymond Reefer has been overlooked, despite an outstanding start to the regional championship. In my summation, the Windies squad is a good one, maybe the best it could be at this stage. A good mix of talent given the expected playing conditions and the England team they're set to face. However, Agar's concern is how the playing 11 will be chosen.
The selectors haven't left themselves a lot of choices in terms of players they will leave out. And I'll say why. They've picked two openers in John Campbell and Craig Brathwaite, the captain. There's only one number 3 batsman in the squad, which is Nkrumah Bonner, who's been used at 3. The vice captain will play, so he will expect him to be at 4. The interesting thing now is whether they'll go with Shamar Brooks at 5 or Kyle Mears. I don't think both of them can play. So if you pencil in Kyle Mears at 5, then Brooks gets left out. Jason Holder will come in at 6. It will leave De Silva at 7, and then you'll come down to your boys. Pramal would be 8, and then you'll expect Jaden Seas, Azari Joseph, and I think missing somebody else there. But I think they haven't left themselves too many options in terms of their selection. So that final 11 will be very difficult to choose.
The Windies have stomped their authority over England on home turf in recent times, and my hope is that for this upcoming Test series, they continue in that same vein.
Short, straight at him. Top.
Our Anne-Marie Burke with some analysis there. Let's take a look at the weather now. The temperature on the outside, nice and cool with the help of some early morning showers. It's right now 24.5 degrees Celsius. It's feeling like around 24 degrees Celsius, and it's fair on the outside. The relative humidity stands at 70%, the barometric pressure 1013 millibars, and those winds are coming out of the east at 28 kilometers per hour. There will be a high tide this morning at 10:30. The low tide will be later on in the evening at around 2 minutes to 6. Those seas are moderate in open water. Swells are peaking at the 2.5 meter mark and still expected to increase. Today will be mostly cloudy with breaks of sunshine and scattered to moderate showers. Heavy showers as well expected with more periods of rain. And tonight much of the same. It will be mostly cloudy with clear breaks, some moderate to heavy showers and periods of rain. And here's a quick look at the international weather forecast. That's it for the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. Up next, Pearson Bowen with Mornin Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Boy, oh boy, it's Friday. Good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday, the 25th of February, 2022. I'm Pearson Bowen. Welcome you here, there, and everywhere. Always grateful for your company. Don't forget to check us out on our YouTube stream and our Facebook streams as well. Good having your company. Now, see that information on your screen. It's always important to take note that our social media handles. On Instagram, we're Morning Barbados 246, and on Facebook, we're at CBC Barbados. So don't forget to send us your photographs as well, because we have been following our little children as they head back to school, and we have some photos to share with you this morning as well. So if you haven't yet, snap the image of your photo of your child in their school uniform, and you can send it by WhatsApp to 228-5562. or by email to morningbarbados@cbc.bb, and guaranteed we will share it with everyone right here on Morning Barbados. Now, coming up today, Clean Up Barbados is back, because we've been talking about this for a little while, but it's been postponed owing to protocols that were put in place caused by the pandemic. It is back, and it's coming up by they're in search now of more volunteers just to get you more back interested in what's happening. And Harding will talk to us a little bit about that straight ahead. Also, if you have a loved one who is in some way disabled and you feel you want to shut them aside, I say no. I say definitely not. And so there's a sports academy that can help to include them and use sport as one of those motivating factors for inclusion. So look out for that conversation as well. There's a young woman who will join us this morning who has written a book of her journey with God so far, from beauty to ashes, well, from ashes to beauty, the beauty for your ashes she shares with us, plus a purpose for your pain. And what does all of that mean to her, what all of it can mean to us, she will share as well. But let's get started by looking at an upcoming event by the Barbados Defence Force. It's a virtual run and walk. And so joining us this morning to talk about that and how you can be a part of it is Captain Harriet Clark, who is the Coordinator of Social Services with the Defence Force. Good morning to you, Captain Clark.
Good Friday morning to you, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. I like the way you said that. Good Friday morning to you, indeed. Back to you, too. Now, as Coordinator of Social Services, what is it that you do, and will those social services interface with the public?
Yes, so as Coordinator of Social Services, my cell is responsible for the welfare and morale of the personnel at the Barbados Defence Force. So that includes counseling them when they're having any challenges, whether those challenges are workplace or at home. We deal with issues related to partner difficulties, grief and bereavement when there's death in the family, as well as any workplace concerns that our personnel may be having. We do interface with the public through events like this one that I'm here to talk about this morning, or virtual charity walk and run.
So this charity walk and run, is it the first time? And if it's not the first time, obviously people will naturally be very familiar with it. But why this time are you having the charity walk and run?
Well, this event dates back to 2016, actually. We had a Have a Heart charity walk and run. We've decided to make it virtual because of the ongoing public health situation due to COVID-19. So as you're saying, persons wouldn't be familiar with the event, just not necessarily as a virtual event.
Yeah.
And Pearson Virtual just means that we are trying to make the event as convenient as possible to our potential participants.
I'm glad you're able to
get
I'm glad you clarified that. So in its convenience, how can people participate really? When you say, how do you pull it all together so that we all share in what's happening and yet still be able to participate?
Right, so that's an excellent question. So for those persons who may be vulnerable to COVID-19, we still want to involve them. So persons can have the comfort of participating from their own homes. So if you have a treadmill at home, if you are someone who engages in daily steps, you can actually submit those when you register, as well as we have the option for persons to do the event in person in the community from any locations of their choice around the island.
So let me be clear. Let me be absolutely clear. So if I'm at home and I'm on the treadmill, and do I film it and then submit it, or do I join linking with you live while the event is on so you can see that I'm actually still on my treadmill working? What are the logistics there?
Again, a wonderful question. So because of the COVID pandemic, we are actually allowing persons to track their movement through a number of various physical fitness tracker apps. We recommended Relive. If you go to our website, we recommended Relive as one such app, but there are a variety of apps that persons can use. And once you track your miles, you can submit them and be eligible for our prizes. So it's not a one virtual event. Actually, the event is unique in the fact that it's going to be held in stages. So this first stage commences on the 1st of March, and persons have 2 months to complete the miles and submit to us.
Now I get it. So the first one starts on Tuesday coming, and but we need to register. And in registering, how do we register?
You register online at bdfbarbados.com/bdf-walk-run. And we also have the option for persons, so you can pay online. All the information is there on the site. I've also asked for the relevant numbers to be posted so that persons can contact us if they have any questions or have any difficulty navigating the site. But we are also allowing in-person payment. So it's $30 to register for adults, and we encourage children to participate because the proceeds are really targeted to our beneficiary charity, Precious Touch Foundation, Inc. That's our local wish granting charity, as well as to our work within the BDF. And this year we're intended to allocate some of those proceeds to the minor survivors of our soldiers who have died.
Okay, so the first stage is starting this coming Tuesday. Register by going to bdfbarbados.com, and you will see. It will take you from there, and you pay online. It's $30. And while you're doing that, you're actually contributing to charity, but you're also building up your health and your exercise regime and a whole host of things. So this is a win-win. The charity benefits, and you benefit as well. And you said to me that this is the start, but then it continues throughout the year with other activities. Is that the plan, or throughout the month?
It continues. It has 2 other stages. It's a 3-stage event. The second stage goes from May to June, and the third stage from July to August. And as the stages go, then the miles also increase. So as you said, it is a win-win because we actually had conceptualized the walk and run to assist our healthcare services within the country in terms of combating non-communicable diseases, and we know how important that is right now because of the health environment that we're operating in, as well as to encourage general fitness and overall health for our participants.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be great. And joining us right now is Adrian Millington, who is the technical director who's working along with you. He's also the chairperson of the technical committee. Mr. Millington, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Brown. How are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. Now, talk to us a little bit about, from your technical perspective, how all of this comes together and how we can technically join it as well.
Well, the thing is, the technical part of the functioning of the event is not really my responsibility. So I could give you, well, how I assist with the event and stuff, in terms of how we promote it and that sort of thing on our field. We have to do very soon. That's about technical part of whatever play right now. But in terms of the foundation, I responsible for the website and the social media and that sort of thing. What I can tell you about you also is the charity, how we function, when we started, and what our role is.
So you give guidance and assistance, essentially. That's what you do.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
All right. So for anyone who might be having a challenge in logging in and getting in and settling in and getting their submissions in, that's where we turn to. We turn to you and your team.
Well, no, because the BDF is handling that side of the event. They have a team also,
All right. And so the event starts then, Captain Clark, from the 1st of March, which is this coming Tuesday, but we want people even today to start to sign up, to start to register. Remind us where we can go to register and how we can register, and who is really encouraged to register.
So as I said, we are accommodating both adult and child participants. And I just want to clarify, Mr. Millington is actually the technical director at our charity partner, Precious Touch Foundation, Inc. He's not the technical director for the event.
Okay.
So I just wanted to clarify that he works with the charity, volunteers with the charity. He's one of the directors. So that was his purpose here today, to really talk about how the children of that charity benefits. But as I said, you can call 836-3160, 836-3162, or 832-4010, or go to the website www.bdf-barbados.com/BDF-walk-run, and you see information there for the participants in terms of how to register, as well as persons who may want to come on board with us as sponsors, or persons who may, it's there. Persons can also make a donation if they want to, if they're not in a position to actually participate as a participant or as a sponsor.
Indeed. So, folks, let's get cracking on this, because every cent goes towards the Precious Touch Foundation and to help those who have a wish to live a better life, indeed, at least to be able to meet that particular wish. Thanks, both of you, Captain Millington, Captain Clark, and Mr. Millington as well, for joining us. We wish you only the very best with this activity. Thank you. Right, Morning Barbados takes a break right here. We're coming back with more in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We turn our attention now to Clean Up Barbados, and we're happy to be joined again by the Volunteer Project Manager of Clean Up Barbados, Anne Harding. Anne, good morning to you.
Hi, Pearson. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. How do you do?
I'm pretty nervous.
I know what you mean, indeed, Anne. But let's hope we get this project on the road. There were too many things that put a little bit of a stumbling block in our way. So let's go back to the beginning. Yeah, let's go back to the beginning as we come forward. We're talking about Clean Up Barbados. This is not the first time you're doing this, but in a very significant way, volunteers have been coming forward and assisting with this. So talk to us about the project and how it works.
All right, how it works is the most important thing. That's a great question. Thanks, Pearson. Well, the Future Center Trust is now holding 2 nationwide annual cleanups every year. And so the first dry season cleanup is going to happen on the 23rd of April, which is the Saturday after Easter and before National Heroes Day. So it's a great time slot. And registrations are now open online. So go to the Future Center Trust website or just Google Clean Up Barbados, and you'll find information as well as a link to register. Now, how it works, that's so important to explain to Pearson, because it works through group leaders, and we have some amazing group leaders. We've got a lot of mentoring ability available to anybody who wants help to know how to be a group leader, because most of our group leaders have been with us since the first cleanup back in 2009. And so what happens is that you sign up, you register as a group leader, and then you get your group together to, just form your group, get people to say, yes, they're going to come. You tell them what day it is, you tell them all the details that we help provide. So we help provide information too. And we work with the group leaders to agree on what location they're going to clean. And then they work with their group to get their group to come together at that location and at a particular time on the morning of the 23rd of April.
Yes.
And then we talk to the group leaders through the day to see how they're going. We use, communication by cell phone to talk to them through the day. And when they're finished, we have a weigh team to go out and weigh their collection. And then we report the weights to the media.
This is great. So one can volunteer to be a group leader, or one can form one's own group and says, hey, here's my group of people. We're here. We are going to whatever location to do the clean up. So I said that specifically because this is open, as I'm going to use the word challenge for just a moment, to companies and church groups and on social organizations as a group of people to step forward. Because in engaging with this activity, you are cleaning up Barbados. You're going into gullies, you're going onto beaches, you're picking up the things that make this island ugly. And so whether you want to be a leader of a group of strangers or you have a group of friends, you're encouraged to be a part.
That's true. It's open to the public and it's free. And it's amazing because you get an immediate reward, Pearson. When you go into a location, I've seen some people look at the mess and just stand there and be stunned.
Yes.
I say, well, you've got all the gloves, just pick up one piece. And then once they get started, they just naturally just keep going. And when you work together as a team,
yes,
then it's really rewarding because you get an immediate feedback, because you get to see the location that was just an hour before looking terrible. You get to see it looking beautiful.
Yes.
So it feels really good. That's not a feeling that you forget easily. You remember that a long time, that feeling of how beautiful it looks when you clean it up. So I think right now we're all ready to get out and do something. And this is outside. It's outside. The group leaders get to practice some leadership, which is great experience. And it's not hard, and the participants get to enjoy the teamwork, so it's a really good thing right now. It's really needed.
So we encourage folks to go to Future Center Trust online or look online for Clean Up Barbados and register. Now in registration though, I would register. Do I bring my own garbage bags, my own gloves, that kind of thing, or would I get support if I don't have those implements that would assist me with the cleaning up?
Future Center Trust does support. Yes, what we do is, as soon as you register, I'll send a welcome email to you. And in the welcome email, it will give you a lot of information, and we work with you. We look at how many people do you think are going to be in your group. As you're forming your group, you can let us know how many people you think you will have. And then we have, also the group leaders can order t-shirts. So once you register as a group leader, then we send you information about how you can order t-shirts. Individuals, when you sign up, we're really happy for individuals to sign up, and people always do. And when you do, then we'll talk to you about what groups there are in different locations and see if we can find a location and a group, that we can join you with, and then we connect you with that group, so that, because we go out and weigh, we can't go out and weigh every street and alley in Barbados. Yeah.
You're quite right. Now, it says here in front of me, during the dry season, cleanup will focus on inland areas. Is that tell us then how and where for April 23rd that we'll be engaging, and what inland areas are we tackling?
Because we did have a start last year. We do already have some locations identified. And some are these are illegal dump sites, right? And some are well known. And some are in gullies, some are up on flat land. And we are so grateful to the businesses that help donate, excuse me, heavy equipment and skips and tools and materials to this effort. So if you look at what we've cleaned up over the years, and the years that we've cleaned up huge amounts, that's been done with the help of heavy equipment and skips and trucks and that sort of thing. So I think the first year we did it was the biggest cleanup we ever did, and I'm pretty sure that year the Defense Force helped us. So that's an example right there on the screen that you have of a flat land cleanup, not a gully cleanup, where there was an illegal dump site that someone alerted us to, and they said they want to clean it up. And I said, great, what do you need? And they helped to get a bobcat, and we got a big skip. And yeah, as you can see, they fill the skips.
Satisfaction one derives from this by looking again and seeing the beauty that you've helped to create from something that was literally ugly at some point. So we want to encourage everyone today to let's clean up Barbados. From where you sit at the moment now, I know you want volunteers. What else do you need?
What else do we need? Well, I have a volunteer who's working with me, Abigail, and I'm not sure where she is this morning. Maybe she had technical difficulties, but she's helping me to call businesses. And so we have hardware stores and grocery stores and a lot of businesses. Jada helps us with the skips. Jada Info Rentals helps us with the skips. And all the skip companies actually do pitch in and help. And it's wonderful. So we'll be calling them and asking them and letting them know where we need materials, and they're wonderful. That's what Abigail would tell you, is that her experience with calling people and asking people to pitch in is so rewarding because everybody is so eager to help. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. So in other words, answer the phone when Abigail calls. You know, your support goes a very long way in helping us to all enjoy the beauty around us. So this activity is on April the 23rd. Is it one day alone that this particular focus on inland areas will be?
Yes, it takes a while to get organized, but it all happens on the morning of the 23rd. And so yes, it's a big nationwide thing where we get hopefully maybe even 1,000 people to spread out around Barbados cleaning up. And yes, it's quite amazing.
Now, you just said on the morning of. You know, cleaning up can take a whole day. So in the morning of, from when to when do you think?
Pearson, many hands make light work, okay? And heavy equipment helps too.
Quite right, you're absolutely right.
We do start early because it's nice to be out when it's cool. When you're out cleaning up, it's nice to be out when it's cool before the sun comes up. So by 11 o'clock, you know, if you start at 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock even, by 11 o'clock or noon, you're usually ready to take a break, and you've usually got your area clean by then.
It's important to contact the Future Center Trust or to go online and look for Clean Up Barbados, because the logistics you work out, it's not a case where every single piece of spot of land inland that you'll be required to necessarily, but in terms of the logistics, because someone has to come and weigh, someone has to come and remove. So the logistics of it is where we would call you, contact you, so we understand what are those locations that we attend as a group, right? Yes, and invariably, even if someone comes to us and they say they're not sure where they want to clean, usually by the time they've decided where they want to clean, they've identified a place. It might be near where they work. For example, it's often near where they work, and it's something that they see on their way to work, driving in and out every day. They see this mess. Or maybe it's near their home and they see this gully where they walk and it's a mess, So people normally have a mess. Yeah. You're right. So we want to encourage children, young people, as well as our adults to really let it be a family event of all ages, to be a part of it. Your team could be your relatives, your teams could be cousins, in-laws, whomever. You invite everyone together to form your group, but you need to register. And while it's great to see everyone outside cleaning, let's do this properly. Let's register. You go to futurecentertrust.org and you're registered there, or you can look for Clean Up Barbados online, and through Anne and her team, you can register there. If you have large equipment, skips, bobcats, tractors, those kinds of things that would help. Register. Yes, and most of all, come and clean. Let's clean. But walk with your protective gear, walk with your protective solutions for those of you who may have skin conditions, and with your hydration as well. Water is absolutely critical as you start to crack of dawn to work. And let's get going. That's the whole point. Let's get cleaning up Barbados and enjoy the space where we live. I know you've done this for a number of years, and I know the sense of satisfaction you get from this, Anne. And so, in just a moment, just paint for us what it means to you to be able to look outside your door and see beauty all around you because we're clean.
Well, now that's an interesting point, Pearson, because in 2020, we cleaned up Licorice Village and the whole community pitched in, and we filled up 2 enormous skips. And not too long ago, I had a walk through there, and it's still looking so much better. Some of the places where people were liming were really messy, and they've now kept them clean. And the difference is it just makes people you don't realize how it makes you feel, when you've got garbage surrounding you. But once it's clean, you just feel so much better about yourself, and you want to keep it clean. It's a good long-term result.
Indeed, that's the intention. I love the analogy, the story you gave of Licorice Village, where to this day it's still, because there's a personal investment in what around us looks like, and I love it that everyone feels that way. So maybe we can challenge all the communities on our island to take up the challenge tossed out now by Licorice Village. Let's make our own roads, our own areas as sparklingly bright, and cleaning up. Find ways of making beautiful oases in that area, a little spot where we can just sit under a tree and relax and recline on the grass, that kind of thing. Let's beautify our island. So Anne Harding with Clean Up Barbados and the Future Center Trust, they are leading the charge. And also all of us will volunteer on April the 23rd from very early in the morning to get out there in those inland areas and clean up. But you need to register, folks. You need to go to futurecentertrust.org and register, and you can call 625-2020, 625-2020 for further details and further questions as well. Registration is great, but we're looking for leaders and we're looking for teams and workers. Not everyone can be a leader, so let's get teams and workers and leaders as well. And this is fantastic.
Don't wait to register, because once you do, you start working with them.
Indeed. So let's get going, everybody. As always, Anne, I want to wish you the very best. I hope that this is a huge success and that we surpass the records we've already set and that we have a beautiful island at the end of it all, piece by piece as we go. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope to be able to give you some updates closer to the date.
Indeed, indeed, indeed so. Thank you, Anne. Anne Harding, who is the project manager, volunteer project manager with Clean Up Barbados. Remember, April the 23rd is the date on which she's encouraging all of us to join with the Future Center Trust and Clean Up Barbados to beautify our inland spaces. We'll take a break right here. When we come back, we'll have the news on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 2 minutes after 7 o'clock. Let's get an update on the news. With that, here is Shane Seeley.
Thank you, Pearson. Here's your headline news for this Friday, February 25th. The Barbados Water Authority closer to a fix this morning, which will see a return to normalcy in water supply for scores of residents impacted by low pressure or outages over the past few days. BWA General Manager Keith Roy Halliday, giving CBC News an update this morning, says crews are still working to address some issues at the Ionics desalination plant, which provides water for most of those affected areas in St. Michael, St. James and St. Thomas. While repairs are ongoing, he explains, however, that the plant is online pumping at about 2/3 of its capacity. The BWA boss says residents should have close to a normal supply this morning, but as demand increases, that could change as full capacity coming from the Ionics plant has not yet materialized. Residents in affected areas are being advised to conserve water where you seemingly have what is considered a regular supply. The BWA's water tankers will continue to service areas which are experiencing low pressure or outages. We'll have more updates as they become available. In other news, only 50% of eligible school children are fully vaccinated, and with the return to the classroom from this week, there's been an increasing call for students to get the jab. Crystal Hoyt reports.
As school children across the island return to the classroom this week, co-coordinator of the National Vaccination Program, Dr. Elizabeth Ferdinand, has once again reiterated the need for eligible children to receive the COVID-19 vaccine.
With the increase now everybody going into school, mixing, teachers, staff, and the pupils, there is a need for them to be vaccinated. Our figures so far show that of course we're talking about children between the ages of 12 and 18, we see that 55.19% are partially vaccinated. That means they've had one dose. And those who are fully vaccinated with two doses is about 49.9%. So,
meanwhile, we hear that 192 people, 82 males and 110 females, tested positive for COVID-19 in the latest dashboard. Looking at the figures, they were among 1,259 people whose tests were processed by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. Of the positive cases, 31 individuals were under the age of 18. There were 97 people in isolation facilities and 2,323 people in home isolation. Meanwhile, a 92-year-old fully vaccinated woman died from the viral illness. As at February 23rd, the number of deaths from COVID-19 stood at 312. Under the National Vaccination Program, the total number of people with at least one dose is 159,958, and those fully vaccinated account for about 140,000 plus. Prime Minister Mia Motley has joined with leaders in the region and around the world in expressing grave concern about the actions of Russia in its ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Ryan Broom has more.
In a statement, Prime Minister Motley said the government of Barbados recalls the position of CARICOM of February 14th, in which CARICOM reaffirmed its commitment to respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, non-interference in the internal affairs of another state, the prohibition on the threat or use of force, and peaceful resolution of disputes. Ms. Motley says this position is in keeping with the principled stance that Barbados steadfastly maintains in its international engagement, including most recently with respect to the situation in our regional neighbor, Venezuela. Prime Minister Motley also says the Barbados government is gravely concerned by the actions taken by the authorities of the Russian Federation. She adds that the actions of the Federation are a violation of the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine and of the rule of non-interference in the internal affairs of another state. The Prime Minister says the government of Barbados therefore calls on the Russian Federation to immediately cease its hostilities and respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. And Ms. Motley says the government of Barbados firmly believes that a peaceful, negotiated, diplomatic approach which results in the restoration of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity is the only approach consistent with the values of the United Nations and with international law. Well, meanwhile, CARICOM has also issued a statement on the situation, saying it strongly condemns the military attacks and invasion by the Russian Federation. The regional body has also called for the immediate and complete withdrawal of the military presence and for a halt to any further action. Ryan Broom, CBC News.
And that's it for your headline news. I'm Shane Seeley. It's back to you, Pearson.
Shane, thank you very much. I know you're anxious, folks, waiting to see some photographs. They are coming shortly after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We are 9 minutes after 7 o'clock. Let's share with you what we hope today for you will be a good decision of the day. Actually, all week long, we've been asking you to consider those daily habits to make motivation flow effortlessly. So today, continuously optimize your environment. How? Well, we are truly a product of our environment. Most people view themselves as separate from their environment, but this is impossible. In fact, your environment continuously influences how you feel, think, and act. It influences anything from how motivated you are to how productive you can be. If you want to continuously get that spark of motivation throughout the day, make sure that you fill your office or your home environment with success remedies such as inspirational books, empowering affirmations, and pictures of your goal. The thing that you're trying to reach for, have pictures of it. Maybe you have inspirational books all around you, some wonderful quotes of affirmation. All of those kinds of things will aid as it helps with your motivation to flow effortlessly. All of that because you can be, more likely than not, a product of your environment. So let's create the space around us that allows us to thrive. And in doing so, we will find that we do thrive, and we thrive effortlessly, but most of all, we feel successful. Speaking of feeling successful, I feel great when I see the pictures of our smiling faces of our children in their beautiful uniforms heading back to school this week. We have been asking you to do so. You have been responding. And to you, I am eternally grateful. We will continue this next week because another set of children will be heading into school next week. So this week, let's see whose pictures we have. Remember, you can continue taking your photographs and sending. This is Jace. Jace goes to the Wesley Hall Boys School. Jace, good morning. Jace, smile. Anyway, Jace, have a good day. Thank you for wearing your mask, Jace, but drink water, Jace, don't forget. Have a good day at school at Wesley Hall Boys and enjoy your today. Kitted out from head to toe. Look at Karina. Karina is going to Cuthbert Moore Primary School. Her mask is made from the fabric of her uniform and her bag is pink. She's such a girl. Karina, loving the color pink, loving everything you're doing. Karina, continue to be a smart little one. Then there's Xavier, I hope I pronounced it correctly, of Eden Lodge Nursery School. Hello, she says, welcome back to school today indeed. So look at you, Xavier. Have a beautiful today, bright little girl. Look at that smile, look at the cheeks. Sweet indeed, and the hairstyle. Beautiful indeed, Xavier. Heading off to Eden Lodge Nursery School. Beautiful little girl, Javaya. Pardon me, it's pronounced Javaya. Oh, that's exotic sounding. I love the sound of your name, Javaya. Then there's Ethan. Ethan heads to St. Stephen's Primary School. Ethan is a smart youngster boy. Ethan with his bag on his back, smiling, smirking, anxious to head into class, leaving home to head to school. And Ethan, I want you to have a good day today. Remember, Ethan, always be obedient, respectful, kind, drink your water. Here's Christian. Christian goes to St. Joseph Primary. Christian, good morning. You have such a bright smile on your face. Christian is such a bright little young man. Look at him there, look, handsome as ever. And Christian goes to the St. Joseph Primary School. Christian, have a beautiful today. Continue to make mommy, daddy, and yourself very, very proud. Remember to be obedient to and respectful. Remember what the good book says. Have yourself a good day indeed. So what we do have is you sending images, and I'm thankful for you for doing so. Remember, you can take a picture, send your picture by WhatsApp to 228-5562, and or you can send it by email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. We will be over the moon to share those pictures with everyone indeed, because we love our children. We want to support our children in their quest for education. And in doing so, I want you to salute every one of them. Treat them well. This is Ethan. This is Ethan as well? This is the same name. Ethan going to St. Stephen's Primary. Is this real, or is this another Ethan? Or is it, as fate would have it, another Ethan? Ethan, good morning. Ethan, let me guess. You must be in class 3 heading into class 4. Right, Ethan? Well, whatever class you're in, Ethan, continue to do very well. Have a great today. Tamario, what a name, Tamario, goes to Mount Tabor Primary School, standing there, couldn't wait to pose for his picture, but he is going off all shiny and bright with his mask in his hand. Well done, Tamario. Have a good today. Janae goes to Maria Holden Nursery School at Government Hill. Janae, what a lovely name as well. I hope you can spell it when you grow up, Janae. I'm sure you will. But Janae, look at that. The bag and the lunch kit, everything. I just love to see children, little girls with their bows in their hair. Talicia, good morning. You're heading to Hildesteen Primary School. Don't be shy. Talicia, it's all right. You look really smart in your uniform. Well done, Talicia. It's going to be a good day today. So Talicia is heading to Hildesteen Primary School. She looks beautiful too as she makes her way to school. And to all of you, we want you to go to school carefully. And remember always to be respectful of yourself, always. Deal? Deal. We'll take a break right here. We're coming right back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 18 minutes now after 7 o'clock. A couple of things before we get to our next guest I want to tell you about. By the way, you're encouraged to join the St. Thomas Parish Church regathering. Regathering. It's tomorrow. It's a food sale on at the church from 9:30 in the morning. All protocols observed. You can call ahead and pre-order by calling 289-0357 or 231-5482. I'll tell you those numbers a little later on. But also tomorrow, Leading Beside. Leading Beside, the conference is online. You need to reserve your space by going to ticketlinks.com, ticketlinks.com. Get your ticket and you are admitted in tomorrow from 9 in the morning to meet the couples, meet the inspirers, have a great discussion. I hope you have the book as well from 9 till 2 tomorrow. That ticket in by going to ticketlinks.com allows you to have access to all the information for 3 days thereafter. So you can go back and watch it again and again and again and again. Leading Beside, the conference with Dr. Suzette Husbands and her team. You are encouraged to be a part of it by going to ticketlinks.com and reserve your space online. The book, I encourage you to have the book ahead of it as well. It's called Leading Beside with Dr. Suzette Husbands. Of course, you can give her a call as well and get the book. It will be a good guide into what happens tomorrow and going forward. So look out for that opportunity too. So let's take a look now at how we can help those in our society and our community who we call disabled and who we oftentimes want to put away and not allow and all of those kinds of things because we think we need to protect them with cotton wool. And there's an Academy of Sports that says, no, let's include them. And you'd find a lot of benefit that would derive from engagement in sporting activity. And so Include You Sports Academy exists. And the founder, the head inclusive trainer at Include You Sports Academy is Akeem Rudder. He joins us now. Akeem, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Pearson.
How are you doing today, Akeem?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I remember once encountering you and your exchange. I think it was to do with the Down Syndrome Association, and you were having an online session with them. Do you recall that session?
Yes. Yeah,
and that was for me the first time I heard about you and to see what you can do. And you are so passionate about including people with disabilities in sport and using sport as that opportunity for them to stand tall and be among us all. Why did you start the academy?
Yeah, I started the academy coming on to my final year in UE. I study sports science, and in a course that I was doing, we had to create a program for a vulnerable community. And straight away, like I play hockey professionally. I'm from Barbados as well. And I always wondered why persons with disabilities never played hockey. And I went out to complete my assignment, and afterwards I made a lot of connections trying to gather research. So the lecturer really encouraged me to continue on this venture to really make this a reality because it's a really good program. Right after I graduated, I traveled to England to play on a contract. And there I started to volunteer with a special needs school, and I volunteered with an organization called Access Sport, and they're the organization in England for sport for persons with disabilities. And they really encouraged me. They opened my mind to an entire new possibility of what can be done, and working with them, I knew straight away this is what I was supposed to do. And they really pushed me, really encouraged me. They even sent me courses to do. And since that, it's just been a real deep dive into the spectrum of disability.
Yes.
I can now say, back in Barbados, working, when you read something in theory and then you actually see how it's impacting lives real time, that is something that I don't really know to explain it in words. But being able to take my study and kind of bring it out to people in a way that they understand, and to see the benefits from it. Yeah, it's been really life-changing
and rewarding, no doubt. So what are the what's the range of disabilities that you deal with, and what kinds of sports do you challenge the people who have a different ability to engage with?
Yeah, so the persons that I work with fall between, I work with persons who have visual impairment. I work with autism. Autism is one of my specialty areas. I work with persons with Down syndrome. I work with persons with cerebral palsy before. Yeah, I've been studying enough and gaining enough knowledge to be able to adapt for any person who comes to my program or wants to get involved. And as you can see, we work across all ages as well. The youngest person ever is 5, and the oldest person ever is 72.
So you can handle it. You can handle it. And what are some of the outcomes, the joys that you enjoy? Talk to us a little bit about some of the outcomes that you look back and you think, my goodness, I remember when this little one was, but look at this little one now. Talk to me about those stories.
Yeah, I can tell you a lot of these stories. And for me, working with persons who when I meet them, they are persons who've never moved before. And to get them to a point where they're achieving and saying that they can do, I think the good decision for the day is something that really was important to me when you highlighted it, is creating an environment for success. And we are truly products of our environment. So when a child or when an individual with a disability is in a household where they're constantly told that they can't do, or is just framed in a way that they aren't able to explore, and then when you show them that yes, you can get new skills, I find also one of the biggest rewards for me is the parent viewing that child in a completely different light. They look at that child now as, yeah, my child they can do stuff, and then that creates a whole different reality for success beyond sport and beyond what I do.
And that level of understanding you have also requires the wider society to adjust the way we view people with disabilities as well. You say take the dis out of disability and simply see the ability. And I'm seeing a positive change in him. That's one of the quotes that I see there on the screen as well. So how do we begin to rework our minds so that we don't see difference, we just see ability and similarity?
Yeah, I think education is the way. Education and sensitization. I think if we can educate more people on understanding disability, understanding the way how, as you said, how we look at persons with disabilities, and look at it as working with and not dealing with. Look at it as being someone who can do and not someone who's challenged or not someone who's suffering. Because they live regular lives just like you and I. So we have to start looking at them in that way, as you would look at any other person. And I think from being aware, I have a lot of my friends who now tell me, they are now more aware of persons with disabilities. So before they never really understood what autism was, but now I am in the field, they're really getting that understanding and they're becoming more sensitized. And if this can happen throughout the population, then it becomes a better environment, a more successful environment for persons with disabilities to want to engage a lot more and participate a lot more, because they know they won't be judged. They know that that persons will understand where they are at the moment. And I think that's the biggest issue for me coming into this space, is persons with disabilities are very reluctant to go out because they don't think they will be accommodated, right? And for me, I think true inclusion is when we can get a parent with a person with a disability, or a person living with a disability, to leave home and know they can get transport when they get to where they need to go. There are accommodations there for them, and they know that in that space they will not be judged. I think for me that is true inclusion, when we break all the barriers down for participation and engagement and inclusion.
You are so right, and I'm not going to tell my story. I think those who watch us know my story already. Will engage you with people with Down syndrome and the change I see. But there are people who come to your academy with different stages of ability. And so you're required now to obviously adapt accordingly so that you can elevate them. There's no limit to what we can do, include us. This is so important. There is absolutely, and that is a mantra by which I live and I share with my godson. There's no limit to what you can do. Get going. Let's do this. So how do you now assess and then adjust your approaches to meet the particular need of the individual child or person who comes to your academy?
Yeah, great question. The main point of success for what I do is building rapport and building a relationship with the individual. So I first have to understand them at a level of who they really are, and until I have that information, I can't work with them. Right? I need to understand what are their motivators, what triggers them. I need to understand how they best communicate, so that I can then create a program that helps them to be motivated to do activities. Because if I tell someone with an intellectual disability, let's just run, let's just do jumping jacks, let's do football, for them that's very abstract. They don't understand what that is in the moment. But if I can get to a point where we create a relationship where they understand who I am and they acknowledge I understand them as well, then they are more inclined to work with me, and then they're more inclined to follow on and do activities that I may have them to do. So it's all about understanding the person at the basic level, getting to know them in a very detailed way, and then we can do anything from there. Once you know a person, you can do anything.
So does it include you, Sports Academy, have the staff to manage all of this? How many people work with you?
So right now, it's still me. I'm working on creating a team to be able to move out and to help more persons. Recently, I did a workshop with the Sports Council. I trained, I think it was 50 of their coaches. So the idea is to be able to get more persons, get more professionals in sport, especially to be able to move into this area and help persons, But right now, the idea is to educate. Education is one of my biggest things, where if I work with 5 persons, I can only impact that subset of persons. But if I can educate on a wider level, I can then impact and give knowledge to hundreds and thousands of people. So I know then my impact would then help a lot more people.
Right.
So for me, the biggest thing is education.
Is it set up in a way that you bring the child or the person to your location, your academy, or do you also come out to different places and help where needed?
Yeah, so it always goes on a case-by-case basis. So some individuals would do better in their home environment, so I would go and work with them at home. Whereas if the person is more comfortable moving out from home, then we have a location. We work at Athlet Gym and Fusion Performance as well. So we have 2 locations where persons can come to work with us, and this is how we work. A majority of the times, I more so go to individuals, because it's very daunting for someone to come into a new environment where they don't have any experience with. So for me to kind of make that initial contact, I need to be able to meet them in their home environment and then kind of build up from there. So it's a very strategic process that I take, and it is a very slow but progressive approach.
Talk to me about how sport. When I was watching the videos just a moment ago, while we see a little boy trying to navigate the cones with his foot, there's so much more going on that's more than just trying to get the ball around the cones. What else is happening here that the child truly benefits from? Look at the hopscotch, that the child truly benefits from, that is more than what meets the eye.
Yeah, so a lot of what we work on, as you said, is way beyond what is happening. So there's a lot of on-task behavior, which is him being able to focus on completing the activity. This can help him in school. This can help him with his focus. Oftentimes, autism is my specialty. Oftentimes, person with autism, it comes with another condition. So some person will be autistic and have ADHD, and then it goes on. So for me to help them to increase their attention span through activities, the going through the cones with the football, he's focusing now on his foot-eye coordination, and that goes into helping him when he gets older, in terms of how he's moving, his balance, and that could also reduce falls as he gets older. This is it's very cognitive. It stimulates the brain a lot, and for him being able to navigate through those cones, it also builds a lot of confidence for him, because he knows the next time he sees a football, whereas before he wouldn't be able to participate, he now has the confidence now to go and participate with other children around his age group. And that again is something that's very important for the academy, to be able to develop the skills for persons to participate, to be able to go and be social and to do activities that everyone else is doing. And this individual, his name is Nikolai. Nikolai will be joining a program with children in his age group. He's been advancing at a level that I know within 2 years, 3 years, 2 years, I'd say, Nikolai would be in a situation where he will be able to compete at a high level, and I've talked to his parents and his family, and we're really going to push forward Nikolai. I mean, this is weeks ago, but
Yes.
right now, the workouts that Nikolai is doing, I don't. I know it would have a lot of people really tired, but he's really really improving, and we're really going to push him to see the sky's the limit for Nikolai. The sky's the limit for everyone, but
Yes.
we really show it through Nikolai and show how he's really improving and how inclusion can really happen once you take these steps to achieve it.
You should have seen your own face, how your face lit up just on talking about Nikolai. This is fantastic. But that's the beauty of the work you do through Include You Sports Academy. I know you said your specialty is autism, but you deal with people with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, people with disabilities. That's what you do at Include You Sports Academy. So for anyone watching this morning who says, I want to benefit from your services, how can we reach you?
Yes, you can reach me via my number 251-7122. You can reach me via email, includeyousportsacademy@gmail.com. And you can reach us via Instagram or Facebook at IUSA Barbados.
All right. I'm an old man, so we'll do the number thing. 251-7122. 251-7122. All his information is right on the screen, folks. On Instagram, it is IUSA Barbados, or by email, it is
includeyousportsacademy@gmail.com.
There you go. I include you, sportsacademy@gmail.com. Akeem Rudder, impressive young man, impressive work that you're doing. I just hope that more people can really benefit from your skill set, and that you're able to, as you wish, to be able to train others who can now reach even further to help even more people. I love your passion, I love your drive and your focus. Well done. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome indeed. Akeem Rudder, he is the man behind Include You Sports Academy, giving a chance to people with different abilities, differently abled, and being able now to be able to motivate them and bring them to a point, as he did with this young man, the other young man he was showing, to a point where he can actually perform exceedingly well. So let's see if we can get even more of our children including in that program. We'll take a break right here, and we're coming back with more just a moment on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
22 to 8 o'clock. Let's take a look at some more photos that you've been sending in. Big thank you to all of you. Remember, take some more. We'll share them next week as well. And then when those who go to school for the first time next week, we want to see those too. Here's Ariana and Aiden. They're heading to St. Margaret's Primary School. Ariana and Aiden, brother and sister. Big sister with you, Aiden. Yes, indeed, she'll take great care of you today at school and every day too at St. Margaret's. Then there's Aiden and Erin, who are going to Queen's College. Look at that. Two little bright ones heading to Queen's College. Aiden and Erin. I hope I've pronounced it correctly. Chelsea goes to Trinity Academy. Chelsea, look at you with that smile. Look at you with your hair all plaited up beautifully. Chelsea, have a beautiful today as you go to Trinity Academy. Enjoy your day. Thumbs up to you too, Jace. Jace, you read me well. Thumbs up. Happyville Montessori is where he goes. Jace, man, giving a thumbs up to mommy or daddy or whoever was taking the photograph. Well done. Heading to the Rock Christian School is Janaya. Janaya, good morning, Janaya. Have yourself a beautiful day. You look too smart in your uniform. Casey, Casey, you're a big girl now. Your skirt and bodice. Heading to the Lodge School. Casey, good morning. Have yourself a beautiful today. Yes, I know she's the daughter of one of my colleagues here, Alicia Hinson. Cut your mummy face, girl. I'm telling you, you're going to have a beautiful today, Casey. Kayla goes to Wilkie Cumberbatch Primary School. Kayla, good morning. Hi, how are you? Are you in Infants A, Infants B, or Reception? I am not sure, but you are going to shine brightly today, Kayla. Matthew is heading out to Harrison College. Matthew probably couldn't wait to put on your school uniform and head to school. Well, you're going, Matthew. Congratulations. Have yourself a good day. As I tell everyone else, be your best self. You were a miracle, and a miracle you shall always be. A miracle is going to St. Margaret's Primary School. She's smiling brightly and beautifully as well. Miracle, have a great today. Enjoy your day to school. Shalia is a student of the Queen's College School. Look at that hairstyle. Shalia, good morning. Look at that. She stopped. She posed at the car door. She said, good morning, mommy, daddy, whomever. Shalia, have a good day today as we head back to school to Queen's College. Also going to Queen's College is Shamari. Shamari, a young man growing up indeed. Hands in the pocket, but Shamari, that's all right. Have yourself a good one as well. So Shamari is heading to school at Queen's College, and so we salute all of our nation's children. We are so proud of you. We're so happy for you too that you're heading back to school to learn more, to interact, to have that social interaction, which is so vital to one's development as well. But remember, always, always be your best self. Be obedient and respectful. Drink your water and make wise use of your time. And as Sybil Leacock, who was my principal at Leacock's Private, would say, hitch your wagon to a star and it'll take you into the constellation. But have a good day today at school. Speaking of change and positive changes, let's meet with our next guest, who is the author of the book, Beauty for Your Ashes, Purpose for Your Pain. What a title. Her name is Cherise Cave. Cherise, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson.
How are you doing today, Cherise?
I'm doing well, thank you. What about you?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Now, it was in July last year that you launched this book. What a title, Beauty for Your Ashes, Purpose for Your Pain. What's the book about?
Okay, so the book is actually a compilation of different writings. So each day, it has what we call a daily reflection. So it's a myriad of topics that forces introspection for the individual to be able to look within and to see those things that need to be changed for the positive. So each writing is different. Each writing, we go from talking about past mistakes, and we speak about healing. We speak about handling situations, like, for instance, interactions with individuals that may be difficult. How do you handle that kind of thing? And all of it is all tethered to, sorry about that.
That's all right.
All of it is tethered to a relationship with Jesus Christ.
And I'm looking at that particularly because just before the colon, you go Beauty for Your Ashes. There are times when in life one feels as though one's life has crumbled, come to nothing, means nothing, without purpose. And you're saying through that relationship with Jesus Christ, there's beauty still. But that relationship brings you to acknowledging the beauty from those ashes. And you begin to see the purpose for your pain. Because it is just a part of a journey towards becoming a better you. Am I reading you correctly?
Yes, that's correct. Certainly. One of the things that we tend to miss out is that every situation we encounter, it has a positive end. It can have a positive end. We tend to think that it's the end of the end of the game, you know. But just because you experience difficulty or pain, it doesn't mean that there isn't something beautiful on the inside of that God wants to bring out in order not just to help you, but to help those around you.
You know, that's one of the most difficult things to do, though. When you're in pain, you just want to curl up into a ball, hide yourself away, don't even want to look at what it is that might have caused you the pain. But there comes a time when you have to face the reality. And so this book helps in that process, right, of reopening and rising again like the phoenix from the ashes and finding the purpose for your pain and recognizing it truly is not the end of the world. It was just a step forward towards something far better. Now, this book, you say, tells your story as well, from your experiences you're sharing. And Judy Phillips online is saying, good, Cherise, it is good to see you. Congratulations on the launch of your book. You, I suppose, know Judy Phillips, right?
Yes, I do.
All right. So the book is now available. And as we read between the pages, we don't just read about you. We read about your relationship with God. And we also read about some of the techniques that you would want to share with others to themselves realize that they can find beauty from the ashes.
Indeed. Indeed.
How was it putting the book together, though? Was it a struggle? You know, was it a sleepless nights? What was it like?
Actually, it was none of the above. What I would have done at that time, I didn't even know I was writing a book, to tell you the truth. I've always been a writer, so I would write pieces and I'd save them on my computer, or at the time it was on my phone, because a lot of my writings were on my phone at the time. And from the time the Holy Spirit would give me a download or inspiration, I would just write. So at that period of time, I was going through a lot of changes. You know, I was experiencing a lot of differences that I had never experienced before. And each time I would experience something, I'd write about it. And one of the ways that I did that was through an online blog. And each time I uploaded something to the blog, it would be something that I experienced. And at the end of the writing, God would show me how to overcome, how to surpass where I've been before, how to go to another level in Him. So each time I just uploaded to the blog or saved it to my computer. And in 2020, He said to me, it's time to put the book together.
Wow.
So at the beginning of 2021, then I started to compile the pieces. I looked to see what I had written, and I heard 30 days. 30 days. So it actually has 30 reflections from day 1 to day 30. And it was just enough for the book. Just enough. It was exact.
Wow, that in itself is quite a miracle indeed. But it required you to be obedient. You know, you said you had a download, you heard from God, all of those things that you could have resisted it, as perhaps most people would, and think, nah, can't be talking to me. You know, but you were obedient to the call. Was it scary to be obedient to that call?
Oh, yes, it was. Especially because at that time I was not working. And it would seem strange. So put together a book. You don't have a job. You don't have the money to do. And let's just be real. If you don't have the money, you're thinking, how on earth am I going to get this done? But one of the things that the Lord would have shared with me is that my life has purpose. My life has purpose. And for the first time, I knew that my life had a purpose beyond myself. So when He said to put the book together, I was skeptical, yes, of course. But I also knew that He was faithful, and I knew that He was true. And if He said to me, put it together, it meant that He had a plan. And certainly He did, because today the book is published. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was Him.
That is such an affirmation coming from you, indeed, that beyond a shadow of a doubt, you knew it was him. And because you know it was him, from this book, you know that people will benefit in a very significant way from all that he's poured into you through your pen. So the book is available on Amazon. How has it, since July last year, how has it been going so far?
Well, I would say it's been up and down. Yes. There are some people that are really elated about it. I'm still getting calls and messages. However, on Amazon, it's been up and down.
Yes.
But it's also available via, if you contact me. So I can leave my information at the end.
Absolutely.
But there are persons who have been pre-ordering and have been requesting it. So it was quiet for a little bit, but
Yes.
I would say that it's picking up.
Talk to us about the structure of the book. You said there are 30, ironically it worked out to be just enough, 30 episodes.
Yes.
And so as one reads it, you read the subject, and at the end of it there's an exercise that one must undertake so that you solidify the learning, correct?
Correct. So it's called a
Mhm.
reflection, a
Mhm.
daily reflection. So it's structured in a way that you take a piece every day. So whatever you read, however it applies to you, then at the end of it, you write how it has affected you, where you are currently at in your life. However you feel led to write, it doesn't limit you on how to write, but you just write whatever comes to your spirit and whatever the Lord may be speaking to you at that time. Because what I receive from one word may not be what you receive.
Yeah.
So in that way, it is free that you can write it.
You're still quite young. And there's some who are looking at the TV screen and say, this little girl can't tell me nothing. What can she possibly teach me? What do you say to someone who holds that particular point of view?
Well, I would say that experiences have no age. We tend to look at persons and we would say, well, they haven't been through anything. They haven't seen anything. But the reality is that sometimes God would take someone through a process to help an older person. If we look at the age of an individual, sometimes we miss out the blessing that comes as a result. You know, they have something to share. They have something to say. So I would say don't shut it down as yet.
You're
And
so
that's not
right.
just for myself.
So right.
That's for anybody else, you know, that may be older or younger, that may be younger.
Yeah, okay. Can we bring those comments again? I want you to see, because you were talking, I don't think you got a chance to read what people are saying about you, girl. They're saying all positive things about you. Patricia Ben says, that is such a beautiful blessing. Cherise, thank you for sharing your journey with us. That's one comment on our social media. Brown Owl Akila says, may God continue to guide you, Cherise. This is super. Aisha Lovell says, congratulations, Cherise. So people are talking about this, but we want them to get the book. We want them to buy the book. Yeah. And to benefit from it. Now there are 30 days and 30 exercises and reflections all the way through that reflects on you and the best of who you are. And even in your pain, you can see the beauty and the purpose. And that's the whole point here. So for those who are aching today, whether it's a broken relationship, the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one to death, all of those kinds of things, you can work your beauty back by taking guidance from the book.
Indeed, let
so.
God guide.
I like the way you said that, let God guide. But you know, even in saying that, sometimes we want to be in the driver's seat. And you know, talk to me about that, because I could hear it as a story coming.
I am what people would deem a control freak. I like to know that I have this in control. I like to know that I can handle all the situations around me, because being honest, when you're in a position where you can't help yourself, you feel weak. And that's the thing. We don't like vulnerability as human beings. It scares us.
Yes.
And that's been my experience, because over the years I've deemed myself as the independent one, the strong one. And actually throughout the process of putting together these writings, God would have been showing me quite the opposite, that I wasn't as strong as I thought I was, and that was okay.
Yes.
That was actually quite the, that's what he wanted. He wanted that I would allow myself to be weak so that he could be strong on my behalf. And that's what the word of God talks about. It talks about us being weak. When we are weak, he is strong.
Yes.
So if I am strong, I don't need him to be strong for me. but that's not the relationship that he wanted. He wants us to recognize our weakness so that his strength can come into our situation and bring us to the level that he requires us to be.
And reaffirms our relationship with him as well. But then what you're saying to me is, this book is not just for those who are in pain, it's also for those who walk with the belief that they are strong. When you recognize it confronts you that you too have pain that you need to also deal with. And so this book is amazing. This is fantastic. It is called Beauty for Your Ashes, Purpose for Your Pain. Estelita Pyle says, wow, you are an inspiration to others. Congratulations indeed. So Beauty for Your Ashes, Purpose for Your Pain is a book written by this beautiful young woman, Cherise Cave. It's available on Amazon at the moment, so you can go online for you anywhere in the world and you can order it and have it delivered, or you can call her on 241-4953. 241-4953. Cherise, ask for Cherise when the phone rings, and Cherise will be happy to get you a copy of the book, Beauty for Your Ashes, Purpose for Your Pain. 241-4953. Browse the pages, benefit from it, whether you're strong or weak. It's for you. It's for anyone. It's 30 days with inspiration at the end of each, because at the end of each moment, you will find yourself being inspired to go to the next and be stronger as you go building your relationship with God, indeed. Thank you, Cherise. I wish you the absolute best with this. I commend the book to everyone. I hope everyone contacts you and gets a copy as well. So all the best with it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All the best.
You're very welcome indeed. 241-4953. 241-4953 is her number. Go to Amazon and order the book Beauty for Your Ashes, Purpose for Your Pain by Cherise Cave. We'll take a break right here. We're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So what's buzzing on social media? I want you to take a look at this. We will laugh together at the end of it. I hope we will laugh together at the end of it. So take a look at this, and then we'll talk at the end of it. Take a look.
Is it because of... That's my mom. Hold on. I'm trying to work right now. You over there calling my phone. This is D'Angelo. You can say hi. And don't be holding up traffic because you got cars behind you. Did you record?
Poor fella. She goes, hi, baby. That's my mom. I love it. She just loves her son, so she just wants, but here he was in a live shot, and she just drove by to say hi to her son. That was so funny. Heaven forbid if that happens to me. I'm telling you, you get a different side of the person you'll see. But nevertheless, I love it. I love it. That's what happens with what we do here. You know, when we do it live, somebody comes and you just have to go with the flow. All right, before we go, let's share with you some other pictures that have come in. Thanks to all of you indeed. And remember, send some more. There's never enough. So let's share with you some of the beauty of our children as they're heading back to school.
Is it because
Here is Shemaya. Shemaya goes to Christchurch Foundation. Shemaya, you're tall. You're getting very tall, Shemaya. Your parents are probably saying, girl, slow down. You're growing up very fast. But Shemaya, have a beautiful today as you head back to Christchurch Foundation School. Hope you had a what? Ajari, going to, look where he goes to school, Sela Primary. I like you, Ajari. Peace up to you as well. He was anxious to head back to school. What a beautiful smile. Ajari, have a wonderful today at Sela Primary School. Say hi to teacher and be good boy. Taylor is going to Happy Vale Montessori. Good morning, Taylor. Good morning. I can tell that when she heads to school, she has a good time with her friends, but she also looks as if she's going to be quite studious as well. Dior goes to St. Stephen's Nursery School. Dior, look at that cheeky little smile. She is too cute for words indeed. So Dior, have yourself a beautiful day. What a lovely name as well. Very different. St. Stephen's Nursery School she goes, and so she's going to enjoy her today. Dwaynique, I think. My crew laughing at me. Dwaynique, good morning, Christchurch Foundation School. Girl, I am sure lots of people tease you about your name at some point, but nevertheless, have yourself a good day, and good to have you back to school. Folks, don't forget tomorrow that leading beside the global conference, it's ticketlinks.com to reserve your space, just $30. St. Thomas Parish Church is having its regathering sale, food sale on tomorrow from 9:30 in the morning on the grounds of the church. Pass by and buy and support for their cause as well. That's it for the week. That's it for today. Thanks to my producer, Alicia Alsgrant, technical director, Roel Ford, sound engineer, Michael Sobers. Tamisha Green is at Master Control. We thank you for joining us. We wish you a wonderful weekend. If it be God's will, we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you.